Hi, I'm Shane. My audience today consists of
Pale, Dawn,
Jamie.
one of the top businessmen in the world, one of the top richest men on the planet, extremely ambitious entrepreneur, the man that wants to touch Mars, but also to keep our world fume-free. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Elon Musk. Elon has been a very prevalent figure for the past decade, but he has been working on projects since the 90s. Today we'll be discussing his main claims to fame, those being the startup of PayPal, the boosting of Tesla, and the creation of SpaceX. These three companies have made Elon, for a brief period of time at least, the richest man on the planet. Elon has always been a hard-working man. Even when he was announced to be the richest man on Earth, his first tweet responding to it was, "How strange, well, back to work." He was as hard-working as a beaver building a dam. Of course, I'm sure most of us know the gist of Elon's accomplishments, but even so, I've still done quite a bit of research just to make sure I properly covered them. First, let's talk about PayPal. First things first, Elon himself didn't create PayPal, but he did co-own. He had his own finance company, X.com, then he took that company and merged it with a competitor called Confinity, which owned PayPal. Elon became the CEO of the company, but his preference for Microsoft over Linux caused a rift between the board, which led to one of the co-founders of Confinity to resign. Elon was then ousted from the CEO position, but he was still the majority shareholder. When PayPal was eventually bought by eBay, Elon received over $100 million. This huge amount of money would help Elon move forward with his next ventures. Elon once said, "Life is too short for long-term grudges." Even though he lost his role in the company, he didn't have any hatred for it. He just used it as a means to an end while looking to be a part of another company. Now, let's talk about how Elon boosted Tesla to international fame. Once again, Elon didn't create Tesla, but he did boost its popularity. Elon joined the board of directors as chairman after funding the Series A round of investments. At first, he wasn't too active in the company, but after escalating conflicts, the owner of the company was ousted and Elon assumed leadership. Once Elon became the owner, Tesla started pumping out all sorts of vehicles, such as the Roadster, the Model S, and the Model X. Elon was putting his all into Tesla and can be quoted saying, "Take risks now and do something bold. You won't regret it." Elon didn't slow down either. In the following years, they produced the Model 3, the Model Y, and then Elon announced the creation of the Cybertruck, the first all-electric truck on the market. In 2020, Tesla became the world's best-selling electric car, selling over 500,000 units. Although Elon was already becoming one of the richest men on the planet, he didn't just stay still with Tesla. He also had even bigger projects in mind. Finally, let's talk about the creation of SpaceX. In the early 2000s, Elon was part of the Mars Society. This inspired him to create a growth chamber for plants and place it on Mars. He then tried to buy international ballistic missiles from Russia so he could send the greenhouse to space. However, the companies he met with saw him as a novice and didn't sell them to him. He returned over a year later and was offered one rocket for $8 million. He declined this, and it inspired him to create his own rockets. He wanted to create much cheaper rockets, and he once said, "We want to open up space for humanity, and in order to do that, space must be affordable." Using his pre-established wealth, he founded SpaceX. SpaceX successfully launched a rocket after 3 failed tests, and it was the first private rocket to reach Earth's orbit. Elon's main goal, however, was to create reusable rockets. After a few years, he was finally able to land a rocket on an autonomous spaceport drone ship, which is an ocean-based recovery platform. When his first rocket landed without crashing, everyone's face beamed with happiness, especially Elon. Once this goal was fulfilled, Elon kept pushing SpaceX forward. In 2018, he launched one of his own Tesla Roadsters into space. Then in 2020, SpaceX launched its first manned flight, while also being the first private company to place a person into orbit. For his future plans, he has announced a lunar circumnavigation mission in 2023 called Dear Moon Project. To this day, Elon is still the head of the company. That was Elon's main claims to fame. Of course, he has been part of much more than just that, but we'd be here all day if I talked about it all. In conclusion, Elon Musk started out just merging a finance company with a much bigger company, then being kicked out, but then turned the money he gained from that into something much bigger, that being Tesla and SpaceX. Now he's one of the richest men on the planet. To end with one more quote of his, I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. This has been Shin. Later.